Herbert Chow, owner of a children's clothing retail store, decided weeks ago to erect a defiant statue signifying support for the Hong Kong movement for democracy. But sometime later, he was eventually confronted by not only other citizens but also his own landlord to take down the statue. Here are his very own words on the matter.
So you're a businessman, and Hong Kongers get to know you overnight after you invite Lady Liberty to your G1 shopping. So is that a political statement, or you want to share with your customer?
That's really a surprise to me, because we decided to do the promotion. We decided to bring the statue into the shop out of a coincidental meeting with the artists. I really like what they did, and then I opened my offer and said, if you have something that I could exhibit for you or display for you, I'd be happy to put in the store. I thought it was quite a good idea because it was also nearing the Father's Day weekend. So that was pure coincidental. There were initially no political motivation to do it. Well, yes, it is a sensitive object. After we researched into it, realizing that there was actually a bigger one that went up to Line Rock, and it was destroyed overnight, and then they made a smaller one. That we accept that it's political in a sense, but there was nothing offensive, in my opinion. I thought it was a very positive message, because that month we heard a lot from the government about the possibility of introducing the national law, and that it was targeted at a few minorities that are being deemed by the government as terrorists. And we met the artists, we saw this thing, and we thought, what a good opportunity to mock those guys and tell them that this is what our terrorist looks like. It's a she has a ponytail, she wears a helmet, okay, and a mask, but then she holds an umbrella. So we continue to support artists, and this is one of them, and they are also not getting more distribution opportunities. They make smaller versions, posters, and increasingly the bookstores don't want them now because of the sensitivity. The suppression that I got as a result of doing this was unexpected. I was very optimistic about being innovative in doing something for Father's Day, being innovative in being the first chain store businessman to actually support democracy. I only saw the positives to it. The negative elements that came out of it was completely unexpected. I was very disappointed with how they treated me, and what a big fuss they made out of something that I thought was peaceful and meaningful. But as you can see, I'm still doing it, and I'm doing more. So I'm not disappointed with myself. Well, you look at this painting. This is another artist that we support, and he is the person that was very angry with police violence. And this is drawn by the husband. The left side is drawn by the husband. The right side is drawn by, painted by the wife. And together they send a message of this is how they have to prepare when they go on protests because of the heavy-handedness of our police. So the right-hand side is trying to put out the canisters, and left-hand side is fighting. What we receive from Sino, the landlord, which is also run by another third-generation tycoon, was a direct writ from the court, from the High Court, an application for injunction and asking us to remove the 51-centimeter statue within 24 hours, or we'll take you to court and we'll go to trial. Basically sending out the message to me that we're going to sue your ass. We know we have a 50% chance, That one was a surprise, and it was a bitter experience, because never would you expect the landlord to not even have a dialogue with you and go directly into legal action. What Sino did was they went straight to the barristers, who are the people who you need to employ when you take people to court. And they employed two of them. And that's very nasty, very rude. And especially on a subject that was totally legal. And I think he was quite ready to be called a political suppression. As careful as his lawyers tried to be, it was clearly a political suppression. And all I can say is shame on him. I think at the moment it is time for the Hong Kong people to unite, because this is clearly an intention from the government to divide us. And I think the government would love to see, especially the central government, they would love to see us fighting over who should stay and who should not, and those stay are being criticized, and those leave, and those who decided to leave are also being criticized. I think that's what they want to see. And this is exactly what we don't want them to receive. It is time for us to show our unity. It doesn't mean that there needs to be a marching order that we all stay or we all leave, because we are not the pro-government camp. We don't use marching orders. We are people from the democratic camps, so we're very democratic.
So what do you think about the U.S. imposing sanctions on 11 of the China and Hong Kong officials?
I want to give a very direct and very honest answer that would put me in trouble, but I'll say this. I am very encouraged and motivated to see that the international world is standing on the side of the Hong Kong people. And it is a great boost for our morale. And as a Hong Kong citizen, I'm thankful for these efforts in reminding our government that they are not doing things according to public opinion. And I hope that they will continue, because such kind of pressure would remind the people doing the wrong thing that they are doing the wrong thing, and hopefully they will do the right thing. Somebody's watching. That is very important.
National security laws in Sweden are very nasty ones. Like how the Hong Kong people should take it and how you take it.
The nasty part I see with the national security law is how they move the red line, and how difficult it is for us to understand when we are breaking the law. I think the national security law is, well, this one is very vague, but the national security law in other countries, even democratic countries, is nothing to be afraid of. I think the Hong Kong government, the central government, has made this national security law a law, probably the first national security law in the world that we should be afraid of, because it is so vague.
They said they have it in the Western world.
Yeah, but then,
to be afraid of.
yeah, but then in the way that they are being introduced in the Western world is much clearer. The lines are clearer as to when you are committing crime. Yeah, and they have human rights. But then at least at the very basic achievement that the Western, the democratic countries are able to show their people is that there's clarity. You know when you're breaking the law. But ours was introduced in a very rushed manner. It was designed to provide them with more ammunition to disqualify the pandemic candidates. So obviously when you do something like that, you're not well prepared. And so in doing so, your public support is close to zero. Is that the consumers can now see clearly who are the organizations that are only interested in making money and supports the abuse of human rights and the abuse of the Hong Kong core values. And so the number one thing that is very positive coming out of it is that now we can see who we should support and who we should not support by their identity, in terms of whether they are respecting Hong Kong's historical core values. And you are beginning to see more and more that in order to be supported by the government and to have more cooperation from a Chinese enterprise, they sell their soul. So now we're able to gradually see more and more of them. And that's great.
So how do you see the future?
Bright and prosperous. Because I think more and more people are going to come out and speak up like me. I think so. I'm very confident that I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm very confident, and I would just give the message to all of Hong Kong, especially the youngsters, that you should not censor yourself. You should continue to be who you are and believe in the same core values that we believe in. And we might come across some difficulties. We might come across some suppression, like what I have experienced in the past months. But these setbacks basically confirms the famous English saying that what doesn't kill you would make you stronger. So let's live by that.
So like you're getting a lot of support from the government, like ever since you.
Yeah, very blessed and encouraged to see so much support when you speak out without hesitation. That's encouraging, very important. I hope that this would change a lot of people who are at this point still undecisive about maybe some of the not so ideal optics that they saw a year ago.
In my recent conversations with some pro-government friends, I find it alarming that most of them still feel that the pan-democrats lack willingness to compromise. When I ask them, what is there to compromise when we have been the suppressed and have been the undermined and disqualified party? They're saying things like we should stop criticizing the government and start showing our patriotism. They use examples like father and son, and that we have offended the father and we should show our repent first before the father will forgive us. I find it mind-boggling and really an outdated mentality, because this is exactly the reverse of what the society is like today. Parents should learn how to live with their children and let them go on and about their lives. Time and again, our youngsters have proven that they clearly have a purer heart and a clearer mind as to the future of Hong Kong. And you can see by their actions that they're willing to fight for democracy for nothing personal in return. What bothers me most was the mentality of these pro-government people, that they still think that obedience is of primary importance. They totally do not understand that when our children are adults, they have their own thinking. And as parents, we should let them go about their trial and error and the pursuit of their future, their idealism, and let them encounter making mistakes, and in the process of this encounter, developing to become a better citizen. They seem to love writing rules and asking people to follow it. And when they have written the wrong rules, they refuse to accept responsibility. This blind patriotism is most alarming in the fact that these older generation seemed unwilling to accept that the world is getting younger. Leaders are getting younger. Good administrators are getting younger. And the world belongs to the younger generation. The behavior of such blind patriots are so alarming that it keeps reminding you that it is very typical of the Communist Party's thinking, that it is ruled by a group of elderly who looks more upon the past than into the future. And that is very worrying for the future of Hong Kong.
So I think too many people forgot how we arrive at where we are today. And they focus on the optics, which are not so ideal.
So what is the message behind?
The message is to keep going. Because if I give up, then the smaller stakeholders in this fight for democracy, for the normal way of governing Hong Kong, will never come back if we give up. So the message is keep fighting. But I'll share this. I have become a happier person since June 17th. Honestly. By speaking out, I think my exchange in views with people have improved. I've learned a lot. I think fundamentally because I allowed myself to correct myself. And I allowed myself to say to myself that I was wrong before. And as a result, despite the suppression and the difficulty in business, the COVID-19 or the Wuhan virus, I find myself a happier person. It's amazing. I mean, I thought about it for a while, and I came to the conclusion that nothing is happier than being able to speak your mind and not hesitate because when you see something clearly wrong that you don't want to speak out because you had some business interests here and there, or you have a group of friends that are very pro-Chinese government and you didn't want to upset them. The way I live my life now, I don't have to sleep a lot because you're happier. You just think that you don't have enough time for the day. So that is something I like to share, that this I think will happen to a lot of people if you decide to come out and speak your mind and speak out to injustice and support the people who support the core values of Hong Kong, who supports democracy. You live a happier life too. Yes, it is very critical because our back are against the wall. We have a government that continues to believe that they are doing the right thing, and they're clearly not doing the right thing. They are clearly doing everything against the public opinion, and this is not going to stand. I mean, it is a matter of months, I think, that they will actually see what they will get if they continue to do this. So it's very important that and do not be afraid. Don't censor yourself. You know, speak up. And I've always said that with numbers, we can't be beaten.